Chosen one, stop, don't scroll, don't look away, don't move. Because right now, right this second, God is waiting. And He's been waiting longer than you realize. Let me ask you something and answer honestly, even if no one else hears it but you. Have you been praying, but it feels like your prayers are hitting a ceiling? Have you been believing, but nothing you believed for has broken through? Have you been waiting, feeling like your breakthrough got lost somewhere between heaven and here? You're not broken. You're not forgotten. You're not being punished. But here's what most people don't know. Your breakthrough is stuck because your voice hasn't unlocked it yet. There are 9 sacred words, ancient, powerful, prophetic, that God has been patiently waiting to hear from your mouth. Not from someone else, not whispered in your mind, from your lips, out loud, with intention. And if you feel something stirring in your chest right now, that pressure, that pull, that quiet confirmation that this message is for you, that's Him. That's God saying, I led you here. Now, speak. Before we go any deeper, I need you to do 3 things. Hit like right now, not for me, but as a signal to heaven that you're listening. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what God is about to release next. We're marching toward 99,000 chosen ones, and your click moves this forward. And type 99 inches the comments, because that number sends a declaration into the spirit realm, marking you as someone who is ready, aligned, and awake. And listen, I want to say thank you. Thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling, who are drowning in silence, who need to hear that they are not forgotten. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow a seed, not out of obligation, but out of alignment. That's between you and God. Now, let's talk about the 9 words that will change everything. Because God is done waiting. And chosen one, so are you. The divine interruption moment. You didn't find this message. God pulled you into it. Let me ask you something and be honest with yourself right now. Have you ever felt like someone was calling your name, but when you turned around, no one was there? Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m., wide awake, heart pounding, with a knowing you couldn't explain? Have you ever been scrolling, distracted, lost in the noise, and then suddenly something stopped you cold, and you didn't know why? That's not coincidence. That's not algorithm. That's God. And right now, in this very moment, He's doing it again. You feel it, don't you? That pull in your chest, that quiet pressure, like something is pressing against your ribcage from the inside. That sense that this moment right here, right now, is different. It is. Because God doesn't interrupt randomly. He interrupts intentionally. And when He interrupts, it's because something is about to shift. Proverbs 16:9 says, In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. You thought you were just browsing. You thought you were just passing time. But God has been guiding your steps all along through every click, every search, every moment of restlessness, leading you here, to this message, to this moment, to these 9 words. Now here's what most people don't understand about divine timing. God doesn't wait because He's slow. He waits because He's precise. He's been preparing you, not just for days or weeks, but for years. Every disappointment you've endured, that was preparation. Every unanswered prayer, that was refinement. Every closed door, that was protection. Because God knew that when this moment came, you would need to be ready not just mentally, but spiritually. And now, you are. But here's the part that shakes people. Your breakthrough has been ready for longer than you think. It's not that God hasn't answered. It's that your voice hasn't unlocked it yet. Let me say that again, because this is where most chosen ones get stuck. Your breakthrough is not delayed because God is withholding it. Your breakthrough is delayed because there is a divine key, and that key is your voice. James 4:2 says, "You do not have because you do not ask." But it goes deeper than that. It's not just about asking. It's about speaking with intention, with alignment, with authority. God has given you power in your words, but most people never activate it because they don't understand the weight of what they're carrying. You are not just a believer. You are a chosen vessel. And when a chosen vessel speaks, heaven moves. When you speak these 9 sacred words, not casually, not carelessly, but with full surrender and faith, something in the spirit realm shifts. Angels are dispatched, chains are broken, doors swing open, not because the words are magic, but because the words align you with God's frequency, and when you align, heaven responds. Now I know what some of you are thinking. I've prayed, I've believed, I've fasted. Why hasn't anything changed? And I want you to hear this with your whole heart. It's not that God hasn't heard you. It's that He's been waiting for you to speak the language of breakthrough. There's a difference between praying in desperation and declaring in authority. There's a difference between asking from a place of lack and speaking from a place of alignment. And these 9 words, they are the language of alignment. But I'm not going to give them to you yet. Not because I'm holding back, but because your spirit must be prepared before you speak them. If you speak them too soon, they'll just be words. But if you speak them when your heart is open, when your faith is activated, when your spirit is aligned, they become keys, they become weapons, they become the very voice of God moving through you. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you felt like you were on the edge of something, like your breakthrough was so close you could almost touch it, but then nothing? The door didn't open, the call didn't come, the answer didn't arrive, and you began to wonder, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Did I miss my moment? No, you didn't miss anything. God has been holding that door shut, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because if that door had opened before you were ready, you wouldn't have been able to carry what was on the other side. But now you're ready. And the only thing standing between you and that breakthrough is your willingness to speak. Ezekiel 37 tells the story of the valley of dry bones. God asked Ezekiel, "Can these bones live?" And Ezekiel said, "Lord, only you know." Then God said, "Prophesy to these bones, speak to them." And when Ezekiel spoke, when he opened his mouth and declared the word of the Lord, the bones began to rattle, flesh appeared, breath entered, and what was dead came to life. That's what's about to happen in your life, but it requires your voice. God is asking you the same question. He asked Ezekiel, "Will you speak?" Not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready, right now. Because, chosen one, this is your valley of dry bones moment. Everything that felt dead in your life, your dreams, your hopes, your faith, it's about to breathe again. But only if you're willing to open your mouth. Now I want you to feel something for a second. Close your eyes if you need to. Place your hand on your chest. Do you feel that? That faint tremor, that quiet knowing. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's the Holy Spirit confirming, this is your moment. And when God confirms something, He doesn't do it to tease you. He does it to prepare you. So right now, I want you to make a choice. Are you going to keep scrolling through life, waiting for something to happen? Or are you going to step into this divine interruption and let God use your voice to unlock what's already been prepared? Because I'm about to reveal the 9 sacred words. But before I do, you need to understand something. These words are not a formula. They are not a spell. They are a frequency. And when you speak them with a pure heart, a surrendered spirit, and an activated faith. Heaven hears you differently. Angels move differently. Your atmosphere shifts differently. So, take a breath, settle your spirit, and get ready. Because what I'm about to share with you has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, and today, God is entrusting it to you. San, the struggle of silent years. How many nights have you lain awake, whispering prayers into the darkness, wondering if anyone was listening? How many mornings have you opened your eyes, feeling that same weight pressing down on your chest, the weight of years that didn't turn out the way you thought they would? And how long, dear soul, have you been carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours alone? Let me speak truth into this moment. Life has felt like walking down a long New York street at 2 a.m., cold, empty, quiet, wondering if anyone sees you. The streetlights flicker, your footsteps echo, and you keep moving because stopping feels more dangerous than going forward, even when you don't know where forward leads anymore. You've walked through disappointments that broke something inside you, prayers you whispered with such faith, such desperation, prayers for your children, for your marriage, for your health, for just one break, just one sign that things would get better. And year after year, the silence pressed in. Not the peaceful kind of silence, the hollow kind, the kind that makes you wonder if your voice even reaches heaven anymore. Maybe it was that phone call you waited for that never came. Maybe it was watching your children drift away, choosing lives you don't recognize, forgetting the values you spent decades trying to instill. You did everything right, didn't you? You sacrificed. You worked yourself to the bone. You gave when you had nothing left to give. And still things fell apart. The Bible tells us in Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is close to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." But chosen one, be honest with me right now. Have you felt close to God? Or have you felt abandoned in the rubble of broken dreams? You faced financial stress that kept you up at night, calculating and recalculating, trying to make ends meet on a fixed income in a world that keeps getting more expensive. The shame of it, the fear, wondering if you'll be a burden to your children, or worse, realizing they already see you as one. And then there's the loneliness. Oh, the loneliness after loss. That chair that stays empty, that side of the bed that's always cold, the meals for one, the silence that screams. You've learned to smile when people ask how you are, because the truth is too heavy to share. The truth is, some days you're not sure you want to keep going. Pause. You've fought health battles that no one applauds, invisible wars inside your body, pain that's become your constant companion, pills that pile up, doctors who look at charts instead of into your eyes, and you wonder if this is all there is now. Decline, deterioration, waiting. The nights have been the hardest, haven't they? Those 3 a.m. hours when the world is asleep and you're wide awake, crying tears you'd never let anyone see in daylight. Tears for the life you thought you'd have by now. Tears for the people who promised to stay but didn't. Tears because you're tired, so tired of being strong. You've smiled through church services while screaming inside. You've said I'm blessed while feeling cursed. You've kept faith when faith felt like holding on to smoke. And here's what breaks my heart: you've started to believe the lie that says, maybe you did something wrong, maybe you're not worthy of answered prayer, maybe God has favorites and you're not one of them. But stop, pause, stop right there, because everything I just described, God saw it. Every single moment, every tear that fell in darkness, every prayer you thought went unheard, every night you wondered if you could survive one more day. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Read that again. God counted your tears. He didn't miss a single one. Not the tears you cried at your spouse's funeral, Not the tears you shed when your child walked away. Not the tears that fell when the diagnosis came. Not the tears of loneliness, of regret, of wondering if your life mattered at all. He counted them. He collected them. He recorded them. But here's what's about to shatter everything you thought you knew. Pause. Those silent years, they weren't silent to heaven. While you felt forgotten, you were being prepared. While you felt abandoned, you were being positioned. And while you thought God was distant, he was waiting, patiently waiting for this exact moment, this moment right now, this divine appointment between your wounded heart and his perfect timing. God says, I saw every tear. I counted every silent victory. Every morning you got out of bed when you wanted to stay under the covers, he saw that. Every time you chose to pray even when you didn't feel like it, he recorded that. Every act of kindness you showed when your own heart was breaking, he celebrated that. Every moment you kept going when quitting would have been easier. He was strengthening something inside you that the world cannot see but heaven recognizes. You've been walking through the valley of the shadow of death, just like David wrote in Psalm 23. But here's what most people miss. The valley isn't the destination, it's the passage, and you don't walk it alone. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You are with me. Present tense, right now, in this valley, in this pain, in this confusion. Your struggle hasn't been in vain, chosen one. It's been sacred preparation for something so profound that if I told you right now, you wouldn't believe me. But you're about to find out, because the words God has been patiently waiting to hear from your mouth, they're not just words, they're keys, keys that unlock decades of breakthrough, keys that shift atmospheres, keys that open doors you didn't even know existed. But first, you needed to understand something. God never left you in those silent years. He was listening, he was watching, he was waiting. And now? Now he's ready to respond. The question is, are you ready to finally speak the words he's been waiting to hear? 4. God has been waiting for your voice. Listen to me, chosen one. Stop right there and listen with everything you have. Because what I'm about to tell you will shatter everything you thought you knew about prayer, about blessings, about breakthrough. There's a spiritual law most people never discover, and those who do, their lives are never the same. Here it is. Some blessings will not move until you open your mouth. You heard me right. There are miracles sitting in heaven's warehouse with your name on them, doors with your address carved into the frame, breakthroughs already signed, sealed, and stamped by the hand of God himself. But they won't budge. They won't descend. They won't manifest until you speak. Why? Because heaven moves when earth speaks. Think about it. In the beginning, what did God do? He spoke, "Let there be light." And light exploded into existence. He didn't think it. He didn't wish it. He spoke it. And when he created you, he formed you in his image. That means you carry the same creative power in your mouth. Your voice is not just sound. It's a spiritual weapon. It's a key. It's a frequency that unlocks realms you can't even see. But here's where most people miss it. They pray in their heads. They hope in silence. They cry in the dark and wonder why nothing changes. Let me tell you why. A closed mouth is a locked door, and God is standing on the other side holding the key, waiting for you to turn the handle from your side. Your breakthrough is voice activated. Say that again in your spirit. Voice activated. Like a light switch that only responds to sound. You can stand in the dark all you want, but until you flip that switch, until you speak those words, nothing moves. Now I know what you're thinking. I've prayed before. I've said plenty of words. Why hasn't anything changed? Because it's not just about words, dear one. It's about the right words, spoken at the right time, with the right heart. This is why the 9 sacred words matter. They are not random. They are not just pretty sounds or ancient names to make you feel spiritual. No. These 9 words are spiritual technology. They are frequencies that unlock specific doors in the heavenly realm. Each name carries a vibration, an essence, a key code that aligns your spirit with divine order. When you speak them, you're not just praying, you're activating. Let me show you something from Scripture. In John chapter 11, Lazarus is dead, 4 days dead, rotting in a tomb. His sisters are weeping. The situation is hopeless. And Jesus shows up. Now listen carefully to what happens next. Jesus doesn't just think about raising Lazarus. He doesn't meditate on it. He doesn't send good vibes into the tomb. He speaks, "Lazarus, come forth," and a dead man walks out. Why did Jesus have to speak? Because he was demonstrating a spiritual law. Your voice has the power to call things that are dead back to life. Your voice has the authority to command circumstances to shift, but only if you use it. Here's another one. Mark chapter 11, verse 23. Jesus says, "Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith." Did you catch that? 3 times. Saith, saith, saith. Not think, not wish, not hope. Say it. Your mountain is not moved by your thoughts, it's moved by your voice. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer this honestly in your heart. When was the last time you actually spoke out loud to your situation? When was the last time you didn't just think a prayer, but declared it with your mouth? When was the last time you used your voice as the weapon God designed it to be? I'll tell you what's happened. The enemy has convinced you to stay quiet. He's whispered in your ear, "Don't say it out loud. People will think you're crazy. It won't work anyway. Just keep it to yourself." And you believed him. But chosen one, your silence is costing you. Every day you don't speak, every moment you keep your mouth shut, you're delaying the very thing God is trying to release into your life. God has been waiting. Not because he's slow, not because he doesn't care, but because he gave you authority on this earth. And he will not violate that authority. He will not move in your life without your permission, without your voice, without your agreement. Heaven is waiting on you. The angels assigned to your breakthrough are standing at attention, waiting for the sound of your voice to trigger their release. The moment you speak those 9 sacred names, they move. The moment you open your mouth in faith, the spiritual realm responds. But as long as you stay silent, they wait. This is the part that should shake you. You've been praying for breakthrough, crying out for change, begging God to move. And he's been saying, "I'm ready, but I need to hear it from you. I need your voice. I need your agreement. Speak, child, speak." Some of you right now are seconds away from the greatest miracle of your life. It's not years away. It's not months away. It's right there, hovering, ready to drop. But it won't drop into a closed mouth. It won't drop into silence. You want to know why these 9 words are so powerful? Because they are the sound of your surrender, the sound of your faith, the sound of your agreement with heaven's plan. When you speak them, you're saying, "God, I align myself with you. I submit my voice to your purpose. I activate your will in my life." And when heaven hears that, everything shifts. So here's my question for you, and this is not rhetorical. This is urgent. This is now. Are you ready to use your voice? Because the moment you do, the waiting is over. The delay breaks. The door swings open. And what's been held in heaven crashes into your reality like a flood. But you have to speak. 5. The 9 sacred words, why they matter. Chosen one, let me tell you something that will shake the very foundation of how you've been praying all these years. You've been speaking to God. But have you been speaking His language? Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal has been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. These 9 sacred words, these ancient names of God, they are not just beautiful poetry, they are not religious decoration, they are frequencies, divine frequencies that unlock different chambers of heaven itself. And right now, most believers are standing outside those chambers, knocking on doors they don't even know exist. Let me ask you something that might disturb you. What if the reason some of your prayers have felt like they hit a ceiling is because you've been using your own language instead of His? Tetragrammaton, the first sacred name. In Hebrew, the 4 letters that spell the unspeakable name of God, YHWH, Yahweh. The essence of I AM. This isn't just a title, beloved. This is the frequency of God's existence itself. When Moses stood before that burning bush, trembling, asking, "Who shall I say sent me?" God didn't give him a business card. He gave him a vibration. I am who I am. Do you understand what that means? God is not becoming. He is, present tense, eternal now. When you speak this name with reverence, you're not calling on a distant deity. You're aligning yourself with the eternal present, where miracles live. Shekinah. Close your eyes for a moment and feel this. The Shekinah is God's comforting presence, the divine feminine aspect, the glory cloud that led Israel through the wilderness. This is the warmth you feel when you're broken and suddenly, somehow, you feel held. That's Shekinah, the presence that doesn't shout but settles. When you speak this name, you're inviting the God who dwells among His people, not above them. The God who gets close when you're collapsing. Metatron. Now we're entering the throne room. Metatron, the angel of presence, the divine record keeper. Every prayer you've whispered in the dark, recorded. Every tear that's fallen, counted. The book of Enoch speaks of him, the one who stands before the throne and writes the destiny of souls. When you call upon this name, you're acknowledging that nothing you've suffered has been forgotten. Your story is being written in heaven's eternal archive. Pause with me here, because I need you to feel the weight of this. You thought your pain was invisible. You thought your midnight prayers dissolved into darkness, but they didn't. They've been recorded, every single one. Ein Sof, the infinite, the endless, the part of God that has no boundary, no beginning, no end. This is the name that reminds us that when we've exhausted every human solution, when we've reached the edge of what seems possible, God is still expanding beyond that edge. Ein Sof is the answer to "you're too late, you're too far gone, you're impossible," because with the Infinite One, there is no edge. Logos. John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Logos is not just sound, it is creative force. It is the spoken will of God that brings light out of darkness, order out of chaos. When you invoke the Logos, you're not just praying, you're creating. You're partnering with the same power that spoke galaxies into existence. Your words, aligned with His word, become weapons of mass construction. Elohim, the Creator. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. This is the name of divine power, the architect of everything you see and everything you don't. When you feel powerless, when your situation looks like a wasteland, speak the name Elohim, because the one who made something out of nothing can certainly make something beautiful out of your broken pieces. Sephirot. The attributes of divine light. 10 emanations of God's nature flowing from the throne. Wisdom, understanding, mercy, strength, beauty. These aren't abstract concepts, they're channels. Rivers of God's character flowing into our reality. When you speak this name, you're opening yourself to the fullness of who God is, not just one aspect. You're saying, I don't just need your power, I need your wisdom. I don't just need your strength, I need your mercy. Ruach. Breathe in, now breathe out. That's Ruach, the breath of God, the Spirit, the life force that hovered over the waters before creation, the same Spirit that breathed into Adam's nostrils and made him a living soul. When you feel lifeless, when depression has sucked the oxygen out of your room, speak this name, call upon the Ruach, because the Spirit of God can breathe resurrection into dead dreams, dead relationships, dead hope. Hagios, holy, set apart, pure. This is the cry of the angels before the throne. Holy, holy, holy. Isaiah saw it in chapter 6. The seraphim covering their faces, crying out in reverence. This name reminds us that we're not approaching a cosmic buddy. We're approaching the Holy One. And when you speak this name with trembling reverence, something shifts. The casual becomes sacred. The ordinary becomes consecrated. Now here's the revelation that changes everything. When you speak these 9 names with intention, with faith, with reverence, heaven doesn't just listen. Heaven bends toward you. Think about that image. The entire weight of the divine realm leaning in, tilting, moving, because you spoke his language, not your shopping list of requests, not your religious formulas, his names, his nature, his essence. This is why the enemy has worked so hard to keep you distracted with shallow Christianity, surface-level praise, fast food prayers, because he knows the moment you discover the depth of God's names, you become dangerous. You become a portal, and portals shift atmospheres. So, I'm asking you now, beloved, not from a place of religion, but from a place of encounter. Are you ready to speak heaven's language? Are you ready to stop begging from a distance and start communing in intimacy? Because these 9 words are not magic spells, they're keys. And you've been standing in front of locked doors your entire life, trying to kick them down, when you could have just used the key. 6. The moment of stillness. Stop everything. Right now. I mean it. Whatever you're doing, put it down. Whatever thought is racing through your mind, release it. Whatever burden you've been carrying all day, all week, all year, lay it at his feet. Because what happens in the next few moments will determine whether you walk away changed or whether you walk away the same. This isn't just another prayer. This isn't another religious ritual you check off your list before you go to bed. This is the threshold, the holy ground where Moses stood barefoot, trembling, because he knew that the God who spoke from the burning bush was about to shift his entire destiny with a single command. And beloved, you are standing on that same ground right now. Let the room grow quiet. Feel it. That shift in the air, that subtle change in pressure. You might think it's just silence, but it's not. It's the presence of God drawing near. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In quietness and trust is your strength, not in noise, not in distraction, not in the endless scroll or the television droning in the background or the phone buzzing with messages that don't matter. Your strength, your breakthrough, is found in this sacred stillness. But here's what most people miss. Stillness terrifies us. Because when we stop, when we truly stop, we hear things, we feel things. The grief we've been running from, the disappointment we've been drowning out, the voice of God we've been avoiding because we're afraid of what he might ask us to do. But chosen one, what if I told you that the very thing you've been running from is the doorway to everything you've been praying for? Your next words will shift the atmosphere of your home. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The moment your lips part and you speak the sacred names God has been waiting to hear, the spiritual climate around you will change. Demons that have been camping in your living room will scatter. Heaviness that's been pressing on your chest for months will lift. The depression that's been whispering lies in the middle of the night will lose its voice. This is what Scripture means in Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your mouth is not just a physical organ, it's a spiritual weapon, a divine instrument. When you speak in alignment with God's will, you don't just say words, you release authority. You decree destiny. You command atmospheres to shift. But here's the question that will haunt you if you don't answer it right now. How many more nights are you willing to sleep in a house filled with chaos when God is offering you peace? How many more mornings will you wake up tired, drained, feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world, when God has been standing at your door, waiting for you to invite him in with the sound of your voice? You see, God doesn't force his way into your life. He waits. He's been waiting with the patience of eternity. Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in." But notice, he knocks. He doesn't break down the door. He doesn't demand entry. He waits for you to open it with your words, with your faith, with your surrender. And beloved, he's been knocking on your door for a long time now. Maybe it was that moment 3 years ago when you almost gave up, but something stopped you. Maybe it was last Tuesday when you woke up at 3 a.m. and felt a presence in your room, a gentle whisper saying, "I'm still here." Maybe it's right now, as you read these words, and your spirit is leaping inside your chest saying, "Yes, yes, this is for me." That's him, knocking, waiting, ready to flood your life with blessings, so overwhelming you won't have room to contain them. But you have to open the door. Pause, take a breath, slow, deep. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the tension leaving your body. This moment, this exact moment is holy. You are not reading by accident. You are not here by coincidence. The Spirit of the living God orchestrated every second of your day to bring you to this threshold. And now he's asking, will you speak? Will you stop letting fear keep your mouth shut? Will you stop letting shame convince you that you're not worthy to call on his name? Will you stop letting doubt whisper that nothing will change, that this is just like everything else you've tried? Because here's the truth that the enemy doesn't want you to know. The instant you speak those sacred names, the moment those syllables leave your lips, heaven mobilizes. Angels are dispatched. Chains are broken. Doors that have been locked for generations swing open. This isn't theory. This is warfare. And your voice is the weapon. Psalm 50:15 says, "Call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you will honor me." Did you catch that? I will deliver you. Not maybe. Not if you're good enough. Not if you pray the right way or use the perfect words. I will deliver you. That's a promise. That's a covenant. That's the God of the universe putting his reputation on the line and saying, "Speak and watch me move." But you have to call. You have to speak. You have to break the silence that's been suffocating your destiny. Pause. So right now, before we go any further, I want you to do something. Look around the room you're in. Is there chaos, clutter, a heaviness you can't explain? That's about to change. Because when you speak in the next part of this message, when you release those 9 sacred names into the atmosphere, the presence of God will flood that space like light piercing through darkness. Your home will become a sanctuary. Your bedroom will become a war room. Your living room will become a throne room where heaven and earth meet. And it all starts with your willingness to be still, to listen, and then to speak. Are you ready? Because what comes next will test everything you thought you knew about prayer, about faith, about the power of your own voice. And I know the sacred names God has been waiting to hear. The spiritual climate around you will change. Demons that have been camping in your living room will scatter. Heaviness that's been pressing on your chest for months will lift. The depression that's been whispering lies in the middle of the night will lose its voice. This is what Scripture means in Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your mouth is not just a physical organ, it's a spiritual weapon, a divine instrument. When you speak in alignment with God's will, you don't just say words, you release authority. You decree destiny. You command atmospheres to shift. But here's the question that will haunt you if you don't answer it right now. How many more nights are you willing to sleep in a house filled with chaos when God is offering you peace? How many more mornings will you wake up tired, drained, feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world, when God has been standing at your door, waiting for you to invite him in with the sound of your voice? You see, God doesn't force his way into your life. He waits. He's been waiting with the patience of eternity. Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in." But notice, he knocks. He doesn't break down the door. He doesn't demand entry. He waits for you to open it with your words, with your faith, with your surrender. And beloved, he's been knocking on your door for a long time now. Maybe it was that moment 3 years ago when you almost gave up, but something stopped you. Maybe it was last Tuesday when you woke up at 3 a.m. and felt a presence in your room, a gentle whisper saying, "I'm still here." Maybe it's right now, as you read these words, and your spirit is leaping inside your chest saying, "Yes, yes, this is for me." That's him, knocking, waiting, ready to flood your life with blessings so overwhelming you won't have room to contain them. But you have to open the door. Pause, take a breath, slow, deep. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the tension leaving your body. This moment, this exact moment is holy.